What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Losing It podcast, where we talk all things emotional eating, weight loss, and mindset, and how to stop the hell of emotional eating that we often find ourselves in. Because here we are sliding on into December, and if you are anything like me, you started this year with such high hopes. It's going to be my year. It's going to be fucking amazing. This is the year that I really get my shit together. And here we are at the close of basically at the close of the year. You can just wrap this year up and put a bow on it because it's done. In my head, it's already done. I'm already making my plans for next year. And you were thinking earlier this year, I'm going to crush it. This is my year for crushing shit. But did you crush any shit? Show me the shit that you crushed. You didn't crush nothing. There was nothing that you crushed. And here we are, saying the same stories to ourselves already again, but this time we're slapping a new label on there. In 2025, it's going to be my year. I'm going to crush some serious shit in 2025. That unless you actually change the story that you're telling yourself, and I'm not talking about the story of telling yourself you're going to crush things, because that's great. It's fantastic. I'm very happy for you, sending you the clapping hand emojis. But when that story is equally followed by the traditional stories that have lived in your psyche for years, I want to crush this next year, but also I don't really believe in myself, and I think I'm a bit of a dick, really. And I know that I don't have any self-confidence, and I always promise that I'm going to do stuff, but I never ever follow through. And I always say that I'm going to eat healthy, but I always come home and stuff my face. Those stories are killing, like they're totally unaliving any chance that you have of succeeding. Next year, the year after, they're the reason you didn't succeed with your weight loss this year. It's the whole reason behind everything. And here's what I want you to fully grasp and understand. Remember when you were in school, and if you're of my generation, I'm not talking about now, where you just carry some little tablet around with you and all your shit's on there. I'm talking about in my era, honey, it was like serious school business, right? And you had to carry all your fucking textbooks, and they were so heavy, and they just about cracked your collarbone because you had your bag slung over your shoulder, and you're carrying like 55 kilos of heavy ass books and shit with you every day to school and from school every single day, because they were full of the stories that you needed to know in order to successfully pass your particular subjects. So I had books with the stories of geology. I had stories with the books of the economy. I had stories with the books of mathematics. What else do we have? Art, all the things, okay? Home economics. We had all the shit. And I had to carry these books each and every day. And they were heavy and they were lugging me down. What do you think the first thing that you did was when you wrapped up your school years and you finished, you matriculated or you graduated or whatever it is that you finished your schooling? Do you continue to carry those fucking heavy books to this day, slugging them over your shoulder and just about cracking your collarbone every day, carrying that heavy ass shit around? Are you still carrying it now? No, because you don't need those stories anymore. You're finished with those stories. Do you see where I'm going? You dropped those stories the minute you finished school. Imagine how ridiculous you would look if here you were now as a 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old woman still lugging around heavy-ass school books full of stories that are not only unneeded, but are even fucking out of date now. They're out of date stories. They're not even real anymore. We've disproven them 1,000 times over, but not you. No. You still want to carry and lug those heavy ass books around, slugging them over your shoulder and cracking your collarbone day after day, breaking your back, carrying the heavy books around with stories in them that no longer are applicable. This is what you're doing every single damn day when you get out of bed and you want to do something different with your life. You don't want to be emotionally eating day after day. Every time your dick ex-husband says something and it sets you off, you don't want to be running and going through Macca's drive-through. Or every time your child says something and it upsets you, you don't want to be stuffing your face with chocolate. You don't want to be eating the children's school brownies before they even get to the school bake. Like, you don't want to be doing that. But every day you're still carrying around your school bag full of stupid ass heavy textbook stories like, well, I can't control myself around food. My parents always used to tell me that I was just big boned. I'll never be able to do this. My auntie from, some fucking random place that visited us once in 1672 told me that I was stupid and fat and gross and would never amount to anything. And we are still carrying around these bullshit stories that may have been relevant at one time. Maybe you were big boned in high school. Maybe you weren't the sharpest tool in the shed at one time. I wasn't. I know. I mean, look, I don't know because I'm not in their head, but I feel like I was probably a bit of an embarrassment to my parents because I didn't have the academic smarts that my brother did. He was the golden child. I was the black sheep. He was the one that went to university and graduated and did all these incredible things, became a school principal and has done amazing things with his life. What the fuck did I do? Well, my daughter, she's the one that's like 50 something years old and she does something online. I don't really know. Like, I've always been how I feel, the disappointment. But you know what that is right there? What I just shared with you? That's a heavy textbook that I'm carrying around on my shoulders all day, every day, breaking my back. And it's not relevant because it's not fucking true. You know how it's not true? Because I get to decide it's not true. I get to decide. So when you next come home from work and you're starving and you think, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just going to eat all the cheese in the fridge. I don't care. I've had a bad day or I've had a good day. I overcame certain things and I deserve this treat. I deserve it. You are going to your school bag, from 1987 and you're dragging out some bullshit textbooks that are no longer relevant and they're fucking up your life because you're still taking life advice from shit that's got random information about Captain Cook that was never even true. We are looking at the equivalent of a fucking Funkin' Wagnall's encyclopedia, things that are so far out of date, but you're still carrying them around and using them as reference material for the choices that you make in your life. It is time for that to stop because let me give you the reality of the situation. Your old school bag full of outdated opinions, thoughts, people's input, people's slander, people's stupid ass ideas of what you were and were not capable of, and even your own misplaced and misguided ideas of what you were and were not capable of. They are no longer relevant now in 2025. Imagine this. On one hand, you've got your stinky, dirty, stained school bag full of heavy ass, irrelevant, outdated reference material. And on the other hand, you have the choice to choose a beautiful new journal. And by journal, I mean a really big, thick, gorgeous, sparkly, glittery, brand new book. And if somebody placed this book into your hand, and it's still big, it's still heavy, and when you look at the cover, it's shiny, it's gorgeous, it's got your name, not some outdated person's name, your name beautifully embossed on the front cover. And it looks the colors that you want it to look. It feels the way that you want it to feel. And even though it's thick, it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't. And as you open the cover of this book, you realize that every single page inside is blank. And the person who gets to fill this book in is you. You have an opportunity now to write your story for this coming year the way you want to see it play out. You no longer have to play by some outdated reference material. That is gone. It's over. You now have an opportunity to write something that has never been written before. You can now write your story in a way that when I have a bad day, I come home and indulge in some self-care. And self-care does not mean stuffing my face with fucking chocolate. Self-care looks like me, I don't know, having a Netflix binge instead of a pizza binge. It looks like me facing my problems head on and setting strong boundaries with people who have walked all over me for way too fucking long. It looks like me journaling my feelings and thinking, this is some bullshit. I don't need to listen to this. It looks like me not journaling my feelings because you don't need to sit in a bath full of your wallowing just to work out your emotions so that you don't emotionally eat. That's not necessary either. You don't need to feel your emotions so that you don't emotionally eat. You just need to decide that you're now going to be a woman of your word who stands up, who when she makes a promise to herself, she steps up and she steps up to the plate and she doesn't back down from her word. Any feelings of discomfort come up, they're just temporary. Who cares? You're the one that's writing this story. You're not going to be the victim of somebody else's old, dusty ass reference material anymore. This is now your opportunity to shine. And think about the thoughts that flow through your mind every day. This is too much. I can't handle this. I just need to eat. All those thoughts, they are like on a rotating sushi train. They're on a buffet. If this rotating buffet sushi train was just going through your mind all day long, it's just rotating different thoughts. My question to you is, what thoughts are you going to place on your plate and load your plate up with for this brand new book, for this new chapter, for 2025? Because they are the thoughts that are going to become your new reference material. My darlings, as always, if you haven't got my free course yet, come on over, kyliepax.com/free course. It's where you get the 5 eating codes that I dive into in my blueprint. And if you want to join us inside of the blueprint, come on over. We would so love to have you there. That's where you get everything. Live weekly calls with me, the entire video breakdown of how I lost the 20 kilos, plus bonus courses on self-sabotage, cutting out your cravings, dealing with your emotions, breaking through binge territory, everything you could ever need. Plus the journals, of course, the journals that you see go viral on social all the time. That you will find over at kyliepax.com/F-the-scale. Or just hit the link in the show notes. I'm sending you all tremendous amounts of love. I will see you again next week. Until then, gorgeous ones. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com and join me inside of F the Scale so that you can stop emotional eating and start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources inside my past podcasts that will help you lose the weight without the BS. I'll see you next week.